Right now, one of the big things we have to do is get the United States government out of the way. They're not helping us, folks. They're hurting us. With that $16 trillion deficit, or debt, excuse me, with those trillion-dollar deficits, that's not helping us. I heard today government, business, free enterprise, and the people working together to solve our problems. Yes, education is one of them. We can do education at the state level. We have the will, we have the ability, we have the knowledge. What we have a problem with is federal intervention. The federal government has no authority under the Constitution of the United States to delve into our state education. That is our job here at the state level, at the community level, and at the family level. We have some good ideas on the table statewide. Now, if we can get the federal government out of our way and let us do those things. We're not getting the federal government out of the way when they are treading on our constitutional rights. A combination of the Patriot Act, the National Defense Authorization Act of 2012, and the No Free Speech Zone Act have virtually annihilated 7 of our 10 Bill of Rights amendments. This we cannot tolerate. We must stand together and say no. Now, again, Mississippi is leading the way in making this happen. Senators McDaniel, Watson, and Hill have put forth legislation in the State House to not cooperate with the federal government in taking away our rights. I applaud them. That is what we have to do. There's one other thing we can do as Mississippi to lead the way, and that is to show the rest of the nation that there's more than 2 ways of looking at things. Right now, our House and our Senate at the federal level are looking at things the same way. We have 2 sides of the same coin, rolling down the road sideways, headed for a cliff, a physical cliff. And the answer is, spend more money. I don't think so. I think the answer is, let's stop spending money on things that the Constitution does not require Congress to spend money on, and start spending money on what it is required to spend money on. If you realize right now, if we cut every dime out of what is in the federal, I would call it a budget if it was official, but the federal spend plan for operating the federal government, which is what our tax dollars are supposed to be for, we would still be in a deficit spending situation. Those items called mandatory spending because they were contracted outside of the Constitution. Those welfare items that are designed to make us dependent upon federal government. The federal government makes it against the law for us to go in the forest and feed the animals because it makes them dependent. And then what do they do to us? You heard the figures this morning. Welfare's up, employment's down. We can fix that at the state level, but we need Congress and the administration to get out of our way and let us do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, you do have a choice. Your current senators voted for the National Defense Authorization Act, the Patriot Act, the No Free Speech Zone Act, all of the bailouts, all of the excess spending in acquiring private enterprise in the form of the automobile companies. We can't do that, folks. That's why we are in a $16 trillion deficit, or debt. We have to get federal government out of the business that free enterprise is supposed to be in. There's nothing in the Constitution that authorizes the federal government to be in the insurance business. There's nothing in the Constitution that authorizes the federal government to be in the loan business. There's nothing in the Constitution that authorizes the federal government to be in the gift business. Those are the items that are getting us into trouble. We can handle that statewide. Leave our money at home, let us work with it where we can get the most out of it. The federal government not only takes our tax dollars up to Washington, D.C. and then washes them through a washing machine and watches them shrink down so they can pass them back to us with strings attached, they then take us further into debt. I will oppose all spending that cannot be tied to a clause in the Constitution of the United States. I will support the power of the state to control its own destiny. One of the very first things that we have to do, and I will propose it, and that is closing down the federal government's Department of Education and let the states handle it. Education that is right for Mississippi is not necessarily right for Massachusetts. Education that is right for California sure isn't right for Mississippi. Let us control our education. Let's get business, free enterprise, the families, and the state working together to bring education that we need in Mississippi. A manufacturing state, an agricultural state, Mississippi does not need a freeloader state. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Thomas Cramer. I'm running for the United States Senate on the Constitution Party platform. I look for your support on November 6th. Thank you.